good team. You know, great training camp, smart minds, smart people, good motivation for AJ, and ready for a big.
Because Jake Paul is crazy. If he thinks he can get it with Anthony Joshua, former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, and play tiddlywinks, I don't think AJ plays touch. He plays knock the F out.
Eddie Hearns reacts after watching Usyk training with Age for Jake Paul fight. Hearns' tone hinted at a brewing controversy because if Usyk is sharpening AJ behind the scenes, then Jake Paul is walking straight into a setup he can't survive. Hearns' warning felt deliberate. AJ isn't just training, he's being engineered into a nightmare Jake never expected.
Learning, kept listening. You know, he has spent time in the Usyk camp. I don't think that's a secret.
What Eddie Hearn hinted at here stirred even more noise in the boxing world. Instead of escaping the pressure, Anthony Joshua threw himself into a brutal training cycle, no breaks, no excuses. Hearn practically exposed Jake Paul's nightmare scenario, AJ evolving at a speed the YouTuber simply can't match.
And that is what he's ready to do. He could have buried his head in the sand. He could have just gone away and gone on holiday. He didn't. He wants to start training, he wants to improve. He wants to get in a position to win this fight.
This pad session alone was enough to shake the room. Anthony Joshua wasn't just hitting pads, he was unloading like a man preparing to erase Jake Paul from existence. Every shot snapped with bad intentions, the kind Eddie Hearn knows come from training alongside Oleksandr Usyk. This is the version of AJ Jake was praying wouldn't show up, but it's too late now.
Good. Let's go. Last 10, put in, let's go. Put in.
Duke McKenzie didn't sugarcoat a thing. Training with the Usyk camp changes everything. That's a system built on precision, discipline, and ruthless efficiency. If AJ is absorbing even half of that structure, Jake Paul isn't in a fight. He's in a demolition appointment. McKenzie practically confirmed what Eddie Hearn already fears. AJ is leveling up at a terrifying pace.
Joshua training with the Usyk camp now?
Yeah, he's training with the Usyk camp.
If he's training with the Usyk camp and there's a marked improvement on his performance, he can quite easily clean up again.
Listen,
Duke McKenzie didn't hold back, and neither should we reading between the lines. Jake Paul is staring down a storm he can't comprehend. AJ isn't just a fighter, he's a punishing force honed for destruction, and McKenzie's warning made it crystal clear. This isn't a contest, it's a potential calamity for Jake.
I don't know, I genuinely fear, like most people do, for Jake Paul, because if he fights Anthony Joshua, it's not going to end.
Johnny Nelson laid it out brutally. Confidence can kill in boxing, and Jake Paul's self-belief might be his undoing. There's no room for playing around in the ring. Every mistake is unforgiving. Nelson's insight makes it obvious. Stepping in against AJ isn't a fight, it's a trial by fire Jake isn't ready for.
For Jake Paul, maybe he's the guy that all of a sudden believes in all his own hype. So, and boxing is the only sport you can't play at. Because you play at that, you get knocked out.
And John Fury doesn't mince words either, taking the warning to an almost absurdly blunt level. John Fury's words were savage, yet the point is undeniable. AJ's sheer power makes the fight lopsided from the bell. Fury's blunt warning paints a grim picture. Any other result than a Joshua knockout would defy logic entirely. Jake Paul is stepping into an almost guaranteed disaster.
They can't finish. Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick. So if it goes any other way, you know.
Logan Paul's reaction borders on disbelief and admiration. AJ isn't just a fighter. He's an apex predator sculpted for war. Every punch, every move screams perfection. For Jake Paul, facing this isn't just a challenge. It's confronting a gladiatorial ideal that makes his hype look fragile and laughable.
It's different. Anthony Joshua was a former heavyweight champion who's knocked out heavyweight champions.
Has he ever tried like Ozempic or Mounjaro?
This is a guy who is already perfect.
Okay.
He's perfect.
Okay.
He's like, if you could sculpt like a perfect gladiator human being, it's Anthony.
Duke McKenzie's warning is an exaggeration. It's a harsh reality check. Jake Paul is walking into a storm, and everyone in the boxing world can see it coming. AJ isn't just another opponent. He's a calculated, punishing force with experience, size, and precision on his side. McKenzie's words underline the inevitability of what could happen once those gloves touch. For Jake, hype and confidence won't matter here. Every poorly timed punch or lapse in defense could have serious consequences. This is a fight that Jake Paul is dangerously underestimating, and McKenzie is making sure the public understands. There's no margin for error, and the risks are very real.
Jake Paul is in danger, serious danger. I know you've heard it all before, but I could just reiterate what everybody else is saying. He's in serious danger of being seriously.
Lawrence Okolie's critique cuts straight to the heart of Jake Paul's vulnerability. While Paul has flair and hype, Okolie highlights the fundamental skills he lacks: power, technique, and the ability to handle a serious heavyweight's punches. Even Okolie, a pro himself, points out that movement, speed, and basic defensive awareness are what separate a skilled fighter from someone walking into disaster. Every strike from AJ will test Jake's weak fundamentals, and there's little room for adjustment. Okolie's insights confirm the consensus. Hype cannot replace technical skill, and Jake Paul's athleticism alone is no match for the precision, experience, and raw power that AJ brings to the ring.
Bigger head guards, bigger gloves, so stuff like speed and like athleticism plays more of a factor because you're able.
Joe Rogan's take leaves no room for doubt. This is a fight designed to end decisively. AJ isn't entering with caution, he's entering with intent to dominate and demonstrate the consequences of underestimating him. Rogan's example of Francis Ngannou's destruction highlights AJ's capacity to end fights instantly with power, precision, and timing. For Jake Paul, this isn't a playful spectacle. He's facing one of the deadliest punchers in boxing today. Rogan's framing turns the hype into a warning. Jake Paul isn't just challenged, he's on the verge of being publicly dismantled if he steps into this storm unprepared.
Fight. Yeah. Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest one-punch KO artists. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good lord.
Yes.
Do you want that?
Johnny Nelson delivers a sobering perspective. The spotlight is on AJ to prove his dominance, but the expectation is clear. Jake Paul is the underdog in every conceivable way. Size, power, skill, and experience all favor AJ, and Nelson makes it clear that public perception will judge Joshua not for his performance, but for Jake Paul's inevitable failure. This sets a high-stakes narrative. Jake stepping into this fight isn't about glory, it's about survival. Every punch AJ lands will reinforce Nelson's point. This isn't a competitive match, it's a calculated blowout waiting to happen, and the judgment will fall squarely on the smaller, less experienced fighter.
Joshua is bigger than Jake Paul in our world. So there'll be more of a judgment on Anthony Joshua than there will be on Jake Paul, because Anthony Joshua is expected to get this boy blasted out there.
Eddie Hearn didn't mince words here, and the implications are chilling. AJ is not a fighter who goes through the motions. He's a predator in the ring, and Hearn highlights that with brutal clarity. Jake Paul stepping in against Anthony Joshua isn't about competition, it's about survival under extreme circumstances. AJ's mindset is ruthless. There will be no mercy, no casual sparring, no taking it easy. Hearn's words make it obvious that every punch, every move is designed to dominate, dismantle, and decisively end the contest. This is a fighter who treats the ring as a battlefield, and Jake Paul is entering a war zone unprepared. The warning is clear. The YouTuber hype won't hold up against a heavyweight whose sole focus is to take out his opponent with calculated precision. Fans need to understand this isn't entertainment. It's a one-sided showcase of discipline, power, and unmatched professional skill.
It's a very dangerous night's work, and AJ will be, people say, oh, will he take it easy? AJ will be AJ. He don't mess around, he don't play with his food. He'll be going in there looking to take him out soon.
Michael Bisping lays it out with razor-sharp insight. AJ isn't just stepping into the ring to win a fight, he's stepping in to validate everything he's built as a world-class heavyweight. Every critic, every skeptic, every voice doubting him is part of the narrative he intends to silence. But Bisping also points out the lose-lose dynamic. Even a clean, dominating victory over Jake Paul will be scrutinized, downplayed, and questioned. That's the paradox of this matchup. For Jake Paul, it means facing a man who is mentally bulletproof and physically honed to perfection, and whose intent is crystal clear: destroy any illusion that Paul might have about surviving in the heavyweight world. This isn't just a spectacle, it's a brutal lesson in what separates hype from true championship pedigree. And Bisping emphasizes that there is zero margin for error for the challenger.
At the balls, he was man enough, he was willing to test himself, he would prove everyone wrong, all his critics, like me. By the way, I'm not like out there on an island by myself, everyone says the same thing, and he would potentially prove all of those critics wrong. Well, yeah, he would, maybe, unless there's some funny business, right? And for Anthony Joshua, as I said, this is kind of a lose-lose, right? Because if he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? So if he beats him, he gets no credit. And if he loses, then holy can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career.
Frank Warren's statement leaves zero room for debate. Anthony Joshua isn't just favored, he's overwhelmingly dominant on paper and in reality. The experience gap between AJ and Jake Paul is staggering. Warren emphasizes AJ's credentials: Olympic gold, multiple world titles, and a track record of demolishing legitimate heavyweights like Ngannou. Jake Paul, by contrast, has minimal experience and none at the elite amateur level. This isn't about hype, it's about facts. Every training session, every punch thrown in camp, and every strategic adjustment reinforces AJ's superiority. For Jake Paul, stepping in here is effectively walking into the deep end without knowing how to swim. Warren's commentary underlines that the fight is not merely an event, it's a public masterclass in why professional experience, skill, and raw power matter far more than viral fame or bravado. The odds, history, and expertise all point to one inevitable conclusion.
You know, AJ's a massive, massive favourite. He's a natural heavyweight, two-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist. We all seen him. He can punch, he can bang. You see what he done to Ngannou. Jake Paul, I don't think he's had amateur experience. He's had 12 fights, I think.
Dana White's reaction captures the collective anxiety of boxing insiders everywhere. He doesn't just call it a bad idea, he frames it as a decision fraught with danger, risk, and likely spectacle. Jake Paul entering the ring with Anthony Joshua isn't a calculated fight. It's a mismatch designed to produce fireworks and possibly serious consequences. White hints at the inevitable draw for fans, but the subtext is clear. For Jake Paul, curiosity and hype may be his undoing. The anticipation isn't just about who wins, it's about witnessing the crushing dominance of a proven heavyweight champion over a much less experienced opponent. Every word from White underscores the precarious position Jake is in. This isn't a showcase, it's a potentially career-defining, career-altering event that could validate AJ's supremacy and remind everyone why professional pedigree and elite experience can't be underestimated.
Oh, Jesus. That's a fucking bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what, a lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. I think everybody's going to get what they've finally been waiting for.
The stage is set, the warnings are clear, and the boxing world is holding its breath. Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul isn't just a fight, it's a clash of worlds. Every analyst from Eddie Hearn to Dana White has sounded the alarm. AJ isn't here to play, he's here to dominate. Jake Paul may have confidence, hype, and social media backing, but none of that can match Olympic gold, multiple world titles, and the raw, devastating power of a true heavyweight champion. Fans are about to witness a one-sided masterclass in preparation, skill, and execution. And the question isn't whether AJ will win, it's how he will do it. Will it be a first-round statement, a mid-fight knockout, or a tactical dismantling? Comment below with your predictions, your concerns for Jake Paul, or your boldest take on how AJ will remind the world why he is one of boxing's most feared heavyweights.